trays.
Yeah.
Questions for Beau.
How's this prep going? How's this situation going for you?
Oh, it's good. I mean, the guys here, like I said, I mean, we got professionals here. You know what I mean by that? I mean, I know they're young, but they're mature. They understand and quite frankly, it's just there's a sad feeling because it's such a great locker room and a great group of guys. So, but I'm just so thankful that just to be able to spend these last few weeks going into the bowl game. So I'm really thankful for that.
How's it having Jaden up here?
Oh, it's good. I mean, anytime I remember Coyne was here last year for the defense and got a lot of reps, and I know that probably helped him carrying into spring ball, and it'll be the same for these guys. So yeah, Jaden will definitely, these are valuable reps for him just to get out here and just to get a feel and, just lay of the land, kind of, comfortable with everything that comes with a college practice.
Yeah. This week was early signing day, obviously. How's that experience been for you, having to kind of gather a class at Cal Poly and then come back up here?
Well, it wasn't as difficult. I mean, yes, there's time consuming with certain things, but there were a lot of things that played out perfectly. One thing was finals week here, so our first practice wasn't until Friday. So we had time to do a lot of game plan prep, for Illinois, but we also had time, and I had time to be able to, and the guys at Cal Poly, the staff that is in place, and and some of those guys that that are potentially staying as well, but even guys that unfortunately might not be staying are still they did such a great job, so it wasn't anything I did. It was what they did to keep it, to keep that rolling through the recruiting process, because that can always be tricky when there's a change, when there's a coaching change, and they did a great job with that down there, and we were able to sign really almost everyone we had set out to sign even before I was on board.
Gotcha. What went into the decision to bring Coach Edwards down with you?
Oh, I just think he's good in so many ways. I mean, I always have. I mean, that goes all the way back to him as a player. And you see those certain players that those guys are going to be, they're great players. Been around a lot of great players, but only a special few do you think that's also going to be a guy who just fits perfectly in a coaching role. And I know his passion for that, and I know where he is. So, yeah, it's no-brainer for me.
Do you see anyone like that on this current team?
What's that now? On this Cal team?
Yeah.
Absolutely. There are plenty of future coaches on this team. I mean, it just depends on, whether that's what they want to go into, if they're crazy enough to do that, because that's how it goes. But yeah, there are plenty of guys.
Do you have a guy who you would pick in particular?
No, can't, because there's a number of them. There's a ton of guys. I could go down the roster and go, yep, on a number of these guys, just because, like I said, they're so professional in how they do things. And so many of these guys not only care about playing good, but they care about the studying that it takes, and the true love for football that it takes to get from good to great. And a lot of these guys understand that, and that carries over well into coaching.
Just as a point of genuine curiosity, Cal Poly ran a triple option this past year. What does the first step go from translating from the triple option to what you want to run?
Yeah, it's just developing a lot of the skill sets that are different. You start with the O-line, and just the difference in what it's going to look like. The pass pros, the pass pro we have to do zone game, and just different things that come with that. And then obviously receivers, they still have run routes, but maybe not the route tree is extensive.
Developing with some of the play action.
Not as extensive as what what we've run route tree wise, and so it's just developing each position that way. QB's developing into being like I said, in gun and doing some things that way. But like I said, it's a good group, and down there at Cal Poly, there's also a hungry group, and they understand there's an intelligence level that comes with attending Cal Poly as a student athlete. So I'm very excited about what I believe their ability to pick up a new system will be.
Asked about Jaden. Guys, they signed Zach Johnson here on Wednesday as well. He's someone who you recruited. What can you tell me about him? What stood out?
Yeah, more than anything, I went to watch Zach throw in the spring. Hadn't offered him yet until after I watched him in person. And that's something I like to do with almost every QB, just be able to see him in person, and just the way it came out of his hand, the accuracy, the timing, the anticipation, all those things jumped at me. And then I started watching him throw from hash to sideline. It felt like there isn't any routes in our tree that he can't throw. The only reason I felt like he was under-recruited, maybe he just didn't have some of the juice early as a young player, and sometimes it takes that early to be able to get on people's radar. And then also just sometimes, just people get caught up at times still in size, and I don't with him. I don't think that's going to be a factor. I think, again, both of those guys, when we talk about Zach and Jaden, have all the tools, in my opinion, to be very good at this level. And but it took me seeing him in person, and when I did, it went from somewhere in here, wherever we had him, evaluated to up here. So he's done a great job, and to me, he's proven that this year as a senior as well.
What can you say about Illinois preparing for this game in their defense?
Yeah, they're just very sound. I mean, there's an NFL style to it, obviously, with their head coach and just what they do. More split safety than we usually see, because there's so much post safety in our conference now. So it's just a little more split safety, and we got to get used to that. Even front, which we see a lot more odd front, and they're just primarily an even front. So, and they're really good at what they do, because they don't necessarily get super complicated, but they're very sound because of that and exactly what they do. They know their assignments. They react well, off QBs, and they can, and see things that way. They're very tough and physical up front. So at each level, they're going to, again, it reminds me, I know that's not schematically the same, but it's like, just how sound Stanford is, playing great team defense. I think they have a lot of that in them as well.
They have a guy in Harding who's been one of the most productive linebackers in the country. What stands out about him?
Yeah, just like I said, he's a football player. That's what stands out. No matter what he would test, I don't know. But a lot of times the best linebackers are those ones who just have that guy's a football player. He just understands. He understands, where the ball's going. He understands how to get the ball carrier down, and he can just sniff things out. And those are the best linebackers. They're not always your combine number testers or those sorts of things. And I'm not saying he's not, but when you watch him, I don't sit there and talk about what his test numbers can be. I sit there and say, that guy's a flat-out football player. And those, to me, are some of the best linebackers. All right.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Travers. Appreciate it, bud.